Hello guys, welcome to another video. Today we're gonna be talking once again about charts, but we'll talk about IFR charts, about the SID, which stands for Standard Instrumental Departure, for STAR, which is of course for the Standard Instrumental Arrival, and for approach charts as well. So, let's start off with a Standard Instrumental Departure. You see, it's kind of complicated. Well, you just need to think a while. You gotta focus everything you have, like your full attention, and we will have basically no problems. So we'll start off by talking about RNF chart for runway. This is 11, runway 11, and all the different stuff. So basically, it's quite important that there is a Baltic Sea over here, the Gdańsk's Bay, and actually it's a military zone over here, so it has some weird stuff like turning, but it should be alright. So that's our airport over here. It is shown like this, and this is our runway, our takeoff runway, and here are the headings to given points. So let's say tower gave you departure Ireland to Bravo. This is our departure Ireland to Bravo, and we have a transition via point Ireland. So to get over there, we'll have to fly via Gulf Delta 421, and the maximal speed here is 220 knots and altitude of 3,300 feet. Here we have Gulf Delta 444 and airspeed 220 as well, and altitude 5,500 feet. Here we go to Gulf Delta 446, flight level 130. The transition altitude in Gdańsk is 8,000 feet. And we have no speed restrictions here, and we have an airline which can be at each altitude you want to. There are a few departures which will require you to have altitude restrictions. For example, Dexter to Bravo will go via Gulf Delta 421, Gulf Delta 444, Gulf Delta 451, point Envelope, and Dexter, which will have the flight level 100, and we have a flight level 90. So this means that you cannot really climb throughout all this line. So this was for the standard instrumental departure. If we have a look at the runway 29er, the same thing actually happens here. Maybe it's a bit more complicated because there are more departures. But if you go to, let's say you got Ireland 2 hotel, you will also go via point Ireland Gulf Delta 532. The same thing basically applies here. You just have to be careful of all the different areas that are marked like this. So let's have a track of this Nimki 1 hotel, barely used nowadays. So you get a climb to 3,300 feet to Gulf Delta 511 with a speed 220 knots. Then you can climb to 5,000 feet, Gulf Delta 512, 220 knots, Gulf Delta 513, 250 knots, no altitude restrictions, and here you have the Gulf Delta 514, flight level 100. Well, actually the climb restrictions will always apply, because if there is like no altitude restrictions at a given point, you'll have to follow the altitude restrictions for the next point. You cannot climb to flight level 120 and then descend to flight level 100. You'll have to just go steadily climb. You cannot overpass this one. You cannot descend during the takeoff, maybe like that. And now you have the point Ninkem, and that's our point. You'll also have the Ireland and stuff. You can also have a look at the radio communication failure procedures, so set transponder 76, climb, and you'll have like all the stuff here. Okay, so let's have a look at the standard instrumental arrival. This is not a final approach. This one is an approach for a runway, and like to get to the finals. This is not the finals yet. Okay, so let me zoom in a bit. Let's say we are flying from Warsaw, Berlin for Romeo, our point, and here it says that you will have to fly, you must be below 250 knots and flight level 120. Now you can continue on course 328 to Golf Delta 841, which does not have air restrictions, but as I said, you should descend to 5 to 7,000 feet. You'll have no speed restrictions neither under those 2 points, but it is just said that you have to keep your speed below 250 knots. What are those weird things? Those are holding patterns. If Towers says that you get a holder point, then you can enable in your MCDU, FMC, the holding, and then you have to descend to reduce your speed to 230 knots, and then you can continue if Tower gives you permission to. Now you can descend to 7,000, Golf Delta 842, and now we'll go via this point and warp IS 220 knots, and we got a descent to 5,000 feet, Golf Delta 809, and just follow the pattern like that. So this one is actually quite simple. Here you have the Ogdev approach, the Ninkim for Ramia, Cossacks, and Raider. Here you have like all the additional things. You can set your course and stuff just to be sure that you get like that you're going through correct altitude, speeds, and stuff. Okay. And as you can see, the transition altitude 650. So that was for the approach, and now let's talk about finals. Or maybe I'm not gonna talk about runway 29er because the same thing actually applies here. Okay, let's go for the instrumental approach, runway 29er. Or maybe let's do the runway 29er because it just gives you, the ILS and the most important stuff. You can also do a VOR approach and you'll have basically the same thing over here, but I'll just focus on runway 29er because just a second ago we were talking about runway 11, so to change something I'm just gonna talk about runway 29er for now. Okay, so that's you'll have to actually scroll down. You have few pages and we are actually interested in them. So here you have the frequencies, the Gdańsk Director, Gdańsk Approach, Gdańsk Tower, and 80s. You have the name of the airport, the ILS, CAT 2 and 3 or localizer, runway 29 CAT Alpha Bravo Charlie Delta, all the possible approaches here. So let's start off with our landing. This point is called Golf Delta 903 and it assumes that you're at 5,000 feet. And now you gotta go with the true course. The runway numbers are based on the course, which is rounded up to the 10 up. So if the runway has a course of 287, like here, it will be rounded up to 290. If runway has a course of, for example, 182, then the runway will be lined up to 280. So let's now talk about the ILS approach, which is the easiest one and probably the most common one for all approaches. So you have the Golf Delta 903 and it assumes that you are at 5,000 feet and you are going with your landing speed, and so there are no speed restrictions at this point, but you should not be going above 250 knots. This is just, just a friendly reminder. Okay, now you have another point which is called Iplom, then you have Golf Delta 902 and few points to go, and actually we are interested in point Golf Delta 903, now actually in IGDA over here. Oh, this one, sorry, I've messed up. So if you have a look here, this is the vertical approach for the runway, and you have Iplom. Iplom is this point, and you'll be at 4,000 feet by this point, so you'll have to descend another 1,000 feet from Golf Delta 903 to Iplom, 1,000 feet to Luz. And now you just gotta descend Golf Delta 902, which is right here. You'll have to be at 3,000 feet, and then you'll be at Golf Delta 941, which is right here, and we'll have an altitude of 3,000 feet, so it says that you are not descending here. Now you have 4.0 IGDA, and you're supposed to be at 1750. IGDA 4.0 is over here, and actually by this point you don't really have to follow the altitude because the ILS system will guide you through. This is just for like, just to know, those points have some like altitude restrictions, but this is just to know. You, from this point on, you'll be mainly guided by the ILS. So if you're at point Golf Delta 941, then you can descend via ILS, because as you can see, we are just going straight down. Here we have the airport, and we have a missed approach as well. So as you can see, we have a time rate of descent for 20. All the important things, if you need them, just look down, just try to read them, and you'll probably be alright. Also, you have the ILS frequency 110.3. You have also the DME 116.1, and the one that is transported in the Morse code. So let's try doing the VOR approach for 311, because I think it will actually be useful now. So this is the VOR approach. As you can see, the charts are pretty much the same. So we have a Golf Data 803, that's the point over here. Now we are going to Ulrich point. We have Golf Data 802, Golf Data 801. And, well, it will be taken sideways, but as you can see, here at point Ulrich, we are supposed to be at 3,500 feet, and then from point Golf Delta 802 to 2,500, Golf Delta 801, 2,500 as well, and from this point you will be descending correctly with the VOR approach, with the VOR system. I barely use VOR for landings, but I kind of know how it works. So you just, from this point on, you'll be guided via automatic landing procedures. So if you have any questions to all of them, just ask them down in the comments. I hope you enjoyed, and tomorrow we'll have the most complicated charts, the VFR charts. So thank you guys for watching, I hope you enjoyed, and see ya!